Hey, what's up, y'all? Episode 11. We'll get into a little bit of cancel culture and freedom of speech. Let's do it. Right, what it do, my guy?
Man, what it do?
All good?
Most definitely. No
All
complaints.
good. And let me just say this, for those that are detailed whores like me, I see you don't see Zeke in the background anymore. You don't see my star in the background anymore. I am still a Cowboys fan, but I put a post up a few weeks ago. I'm just like, I'm done with Zeke this year. I got him right here on my wall over here. Y'all can't see it. I got him on my wall. He can vouch for it.
It's not what they say now. Like we don't say capping, but he's not lying.
Yeah.
And anybody who y'all know why we don't say capping. That's another conversation for another day. But for everybody who uses that word, it's not cap. He actually does have Zeke posted on the wall.
I got Zeke. I got my star over there and stuff. I just for viewing purposes, for filming, I just did it. Plus, for me, just looking at it and editing and stuff like that, I got tired of seeing Zeke myself. You know what I'm saying? I just got tired of looking at him. So that's the story on that, man. So again, appreciate everybody that's been looking at it, liking, subscribing.
On the Facebook page, we are well over 500. So shout out to everybody who's been liking the Facebook page. Please, if you get a chance, when you look at the video on YouTube, make sure you not only like, but also subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Like, please subscribe. Shout out to everybody who shares our videos, and we appreciate all of that as well.
And we newly got a Instagram page too, so y'all check that out too. We on Instagram, Presidential Executive. Check that out. Look that up. We've been, a lot of other hot topics we, kind of never got into a little bit. We've talked about this real quick, like Kyrie, the stuff that he said. Me personally, I think the brother is a little lost. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been found yet, but great basketball player though. It's just, I just think he's lost. Like, I think Kobe was his mentor. Now Kobe's gone, so now I don't think he has anybody that's that is big enough or has that much pull with him to listen to.
I mean, I think he was lost before Kobe passed.
Yeah, but not lost. Like, he's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he's been saying some outlandish stuff for quite some time.
He said the stuff about the earth. Okay. Yeah. He said a couple other things, but I'm saying, like, somebody that, like, if Kobe was around now, I think Kobe would, like, chin check him or say something, and I think he would take that, you know what I'm saying, with some strength. When
you're, and this is coming from somebody who generally he thinks they're the smartest person in the room, but like, it's times you done pulled up facts and I have to concede and be like, my bad, you right. Yeah. You got to be big enough to say my bad.
And that's tough, y'all. That's tough.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be big enough to say I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? But, like, when your pops will say something, my pops will say something, Pastor Moss say something, like, I concede to my elders and people who have a little bit more life experience and who know more than me. Right. Even though, as a man, and you were raised the same way, you always got an answer. You always got a response. You always know how to solve a problem. Right. We're raised like that. It ain't never, I don't know. What do you think? Like, it's always we have something. Right. But we were also taught to be big enough to acknowledge that, okay, you know what? I might have went a little bit too far left. And for him, though, he's never too far left.
No, it's always no matter who's
saying exactly. It's never
always the media. They're pawns.
He stays in the house with no mirrors, and he doesn't know what he looks like.
Right. Yeah.
And so, he swears up and down, I don't look like that, but when's the last time you looked in the mirror? So I don't think he realizes some of the stuff that he's saying or how outlandish some of the stuff is.
Yeah. And that's the crazy part. Like we have never really talked about that. And plus, a local story. You know, I think we're both Memphis Tiger basketball fans. You know what I mean? For me, I was happy that Penny actually got the job. I don't think you weren't happy. So, you know, if you've been keeping up, it's been. I think we were 4-3. We just won this past week against Tulane, so now we're 5-3. And you know, me personally, like this is year 3 for Penny. I think it's time for him to, you know, be held accountable to a degree. I'm not calling him to be fired or anything else, but I'm just saying he needs to be held accountable and of how some of these cats are developing and how they're looking from an offensive standpoint, because they looking pretty trash on that end of the floor.
I didn't want Penny to get the job because, and keep in mind, I'm a diehard Tigers fan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so like a lot of people don't know this. Like that's in my blood. You know what I'm saying? Like before my pops heard from the Lord and decided he was gonna go into ministry and everything, he actually was scholarship to play at the U of M. You know, when he came from the junior college, he got a scholarship to play at the University of Memphis before, you know, he had his conversion and everything like that. So he was attached to, he actually played for Coach Finch when Coach Finch was coaching in high school. So he knew Coach Finch, you know what I'm saying, even before he became the coach. So like that's just in my, you know, DNA. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my uncle, my godfather, Keith Lee. You know what I'm saying? I coached with him for years at his camp. So like I got love for the Tigers. I bleed Tiger blue. You know what I'm saying? But I saw the way the Tigers did, well not the Tigers, but the way the city of Memphis did Coach Finch. You know, which was outlandish. Like he should have gotten at least 3, 4, 5 losing seasons for everything he did, not only for the team, but for the city of Memphis. You know what I'm saying? He got...
But it's a business, though.
True, but I'm just saying...
Like, I don't agree that they took it to a degree. I think,
but this ain't just a random coach, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, that
sure.
was Finch. This ain't like me coaching.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't like Pastner. Like, this was somebody who...
A staple in the city.
From Orange Mound, played for... You know, the team prior to when we had Derrick Rose, that team, that's the furthest any team has ever made it in the NCAA tournament. Right. You know, and he was the leader of that team, giving so much back to the city. It was wrong how they did him. And so now the next closest person we have to him is Penny, and he's like an icon. And so I don't want, I don't want anybody, I don't want him to ever have to come from that iconic status, because our impression of our basketball team, we're like the ugly dude or the ugly chick that dated somebody fine one time, and so now they think that they're all of that, when in actuality, like, you grew up with that, they was your next door neighbor for your whole life, and so they, you know, y'all knew each other and y'all had this good, so now you thinking you fine, and it's just like, no, that person just knew you for 20 years, that's why you ended up with that person. So how does that equate to us? Like, okay, let's just be realistic. We had the 1-5 team in the 70s, which was Finch and Larry King and Ronnie Robinson. We had the 5 team in the 80s, beginning and at the end. The first one was with Keith Lee and Andre Turner and Vincent Askew, those guys, that crew, Baskerville Home. You had Elliot Perry, who was good, but none of the other guys on that team were really memorable. Then you had Penny Squad in the 90s. You had the Derrick Rose team in the 2000s. And after that, we're not UCLA. We're not North Carolina. We're not Duke. We're not Kentucky. We're not Michigan. We're not Arizona. We're not Connecticut. I can keep going. But we view ourselves in the city, we view ourselves like we're really a power school, and we're really not. We would be a power mid-major, but because we got so much pride amongst our city and amongst our, and granted, we have talented guys. I think the problem is we go to these colleges, we go to these places, and we have that Memphis swagger when we go to these places, and that doesn't work when you get to the next level. You got to actually put some grit and grind when you get to that next level, when you get to that college level, to make it to the pro level. Because a lot of guys keep that high school mentality, like I was the dude in high school and I could just show up and it's gonna happen when I get on the court.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't happen. Because like when you look at the high school AAU teams, we play teams all over the United States, and we're in the top 3, top 5. But then these guys go to college, and you don't hear from him anymore.
Now, I don't agree with that, because I argue all the time with my boy Corey. He was talking about, like, Memphis fans. To me, we don't really. I mean, we want to win a national championship. We want to go to a Final Four, but that's not. We're not going to hold a coach to that standard. Like, for us, if we go to the tournament almost every year, or make a run to the Sweet 16 every 3 or 4 years.
You see what I'm saying? You talking Sweet 16, but think about that though.
Every 3 or 4 years, Shay.
Okay, but like look at Passion. He was in the tournament every year.
Yeah, every year, but he didn't go far. None of them times.
Okay, but again,
first round.
And this is what I'm saying though. But look at the guys that he had. Like, which one of those guys is tearing it up in the NBA right now?
No, he never developed players. That was Pasnor's problem, and he was stubborn. Hence, now he even admits now his coach, he was like, I messed up in Memphis. I was too stubborn to realize what I now get now. And you can see how he played, how his Georgia Tech team plays now is totally different into what the product was out there in Memphis, and has way less talent because he was so stubborn for years. For me, I just don't want Penny to get into that vein to where, okay, I'm the king of Memphis, I can do all this, but where are your weak spots? Like, clearly, Penny can coach some defense. You know what I'm saying? But the offense has really looked bad. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, Memphis fans, you know what I'm saying? You got something just like with Cowboy fans. People always put Cowboy fans in one box. We talking about we going to Super Bowl every year.
Now, you're an objective Cowboy fan.
Yeah.
But you got to admit, it's a lot of people that Cowboy fans like every year y'all going to the Super Bowl.
Some of them.
One of our homeboys is one of them.
Yeah. But
you're an objective Cowboy fan, so I give you that.
A lot of us are.
One of my other homeboys, shout out to my homeboy Stefan. He's an objective Cowboy fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of Cowboy fans that's not objective. Like, y'all are the paper champs every year.
Yeah.
And I feel though it's the same way, and I bleed Tiger blue. Like I can go back and talk rosters. I can talk about who should have been in the NBA, and I go back, man. We had Kelly Wise and Earl Barron.
Mm-hmm.
We had Anthony Rice. Man, I go back when we had Billy Smith.
Scooter.
Man, Sid Henderson. Mm-hmm. Man, those guys. Man, look. Man, I go back, man. Mingo Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
Mingo, yeah.
With the left hand.
Yeah.
But we're not objective collectively.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about we ask every individual person,
right?
But collectively, we're not objective. And objectively, some years, to your point, we should be 25 games, Sweet 16. But most years, I would say we're between 18 and 21 games winning. Most years we're between that. If we're being objective, especially when we're playing these power schools, that's realistic. Now, if we're just strictly sticking to the Iwipuis and Dayton's and these schools that are like low mid major school, we can pull off 20-something wins. Then when we start playing like some of these big schools, realistically, 18 to 21. Most years. Every once in a while, like last year, if we would have had Wiseman, we probably could have been in that, echelon of that type of tier. But most years.
So you think Memphis is a mid-major?
I think, to be honest, I think we would be the top mid-major school. I think that if we were a mid-major, we would be at the top of the mid-majors. I feel like Memphis is like the Boise State of college basketball. Like if we stay within our bracket, like we'll be at the top, and every once in a while you play us versus somebody that underestimate us, like, dang, who are these Memphis Tigers? But just look at Boise. When you put them now where they're with the power schools, they're lower the pack. I mean, they're still good. Mm-hmm. They're lower the pack. They're not competing with the Alabamas. They're not competing with the UCLAs, with the USCs or the Notre Dames.
Yeah, those are like the blue bloods. Like,
but that's what I'm saying. But they're at the lower tier of that. But if they went back to that mid-major, they would be right back at the top.
Yeah, we just think differently on that because I don't think Memphis Tiger fans think we're blue blood schools.
It's a lot of them that do.
You know what I'm saying? I really don't. Even the people that now, like Penny now is getting more pushback now, but it's year 3 though. You know what I'm saying? So it's
and again, and when I say look at the end of the season, we're probably going to be between the 18 and 21 win range where we should be.
Where we should be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, does it make it? The thing with Cal was, and I ain't got no proof. I believe it was some money under the table, but the one and done thing, it was this idea that you're going to the NBA. Mm-hmm. So he had that pool. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's been known for that. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I think it's some underhand stuff going, because everywhere he's gone, with the exception of Kentucky right now anyway, everywhere he's gone has been some kind of scandal. Mm-hmm. When he was at UMass, it was a place where he was with after UMass, and then Memphis, like, it's always some kind of scandal. Mm-hmm. So it's got to be something going on. Mm-hmm. But that was the thing. That's what was appealing about Calipari. But Penny ain't offering nothing under the table. Mm-hmm. You know, some of y'all, I'm going to develop y'all. You know, some of y'all, like a Wiseman, you're one and done. A Precious, you're one and done. But the rest of you all, you're going to have to work hard, grind, do that. So if you're not getting the way Kentucky recruits.
See, that's not fair with that, because
it is what it is.
Because Penny has quality talent now. It's not like, and these are all his players. He recruited all these, so he ain't got no leftovers from Tubby or nothing. So my thing is, just with anybody, I don't want Penny to go out because he's a legend. Like the people that at least I listen to, and I'm on the Facebook page of the Memphis Tiger fan thing. So, you know, I see people, but people aren't yelling for Penny to get fired. They're just saying, bro, like, things need to get better. Like,
he can coach where players play. He can't get out there and make the shots for the guys.
You sound like Pastor now.
Come on, man.
That's what Pastor threw everybody under the bus.
I'm not. No. I'm not saying he's throwing them. I'm just saying you can have a fire game plan, but players got to execute.
Yeah. But for how long will that last?
I don't know, and that's why I didn't want him to take the job, because I didn't want, you know what I'm saying, it to be like when we get to year 3, year 4, and we ain't got a title yet, or we ain't made it to the Final Four yet. It's like, oh, Penny, a disappointment. But again, with the exception of that coach in the 70s, with the exception of Dana Kirk in the 80s, who else made it to the Final Four? And Calipari, who else made it to the Final Four? It's not like we got a long track record of coaches making it to the Final Four, or even the Sweet 16, or even the Elite 8. Because the same coach that made it to the Final Four would have made it to the Elite 8.
That's what I'm saying.
When Keith Lee and Andre Turner was playing, that was Dana Kirk. They made it to the Elite 8 one year. Right. They made it to the Final Four one year. Right. With the coach in the 70s, they made it to the championship game, and I want to say that was like the Elite 8 or Sweet 16 one year when they had Finch one of those years. Calipari made it to the championship game, and I think we made it to the Elite 8 another year.
But we're not, as a Memphis fan, I'm not expecting Final Fours. Like, I would expect Final Fours if he continues to recruit. No, even the people on those pages, like they just want good quality success. But if Penny, if he continues to recruit Wiseman's, Precious, he would have got Jalen Green if he didn't go to the G League and got that deal over there. If he didn't get, if he getting these other players, like, that's going to be the expectation because your talent is so huge. Now, that's only time that we'll be like, okay, Final Four.
Penny, you're doing a great job. That's all I'm going to say.
Penny's doing fine, but
y'all hating on the Tigers. Haters going to hate Penny. You're doing a great job.
Penny, you're doing fine, man. I'm just saying, it's okay.
Unless you do some OJ stuff or some Cosby stuff, like, you can't do wrong in my book, Penny. Keep doing what you're doing.
See, and that's what's wrong with us now. I can't fool. I'm gonna tell you if your breath stink. You know what I'm saying? Just like me.
Penny, you're doing great.
I'm gonna tell you if your breath stink, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like it's okay. So I'm just that type of guy. I'm an equal opportunity offender.
And speaking about equal opportunity offenders, and speaking about keeping it a book and keeping it 100.
Yep.
Let's get into, because that was a good little intro. But let's get into how you can't, in today's society, you can't tell somebody that they breath stink. You can't you can't keep it a book.
Yeah.
Like, America was founded off, one of the amendments is the freedom of speech. I want to say that's the First Amendment.
It is. Freedom of speech, it is.
But, so we're founded off of that because we came from a country where, and I'm not going to shoot on crap on any other countries or anything like that, but in certain other countries, if you write something about the government, if you write something about the politics, or you're anti anything that's going on in that country, like, you can be jailed.
Yeah.
You can be tortured just for disagreeing with governmental policies. But over here, and to the world in some degree, but mainly over here, we're in an age now where if I make a joke about anything, people want to cancel me.
Cancel culture. See, the cancel, and that's the thing. Like, honestly, as a believer, as a Christian, like, it sucks, but this is kind of what you expect. You know what I'm saying? Like, to get canceled, like, because,
we've been canceled.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that people have been one, like, they tried to cancel Jesus. You know what I'm saying? When they canceled Jesus, tried to cancel Paul. You know what I'm saying? Stephen cut his head off. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't cancel you back then. They just killed you. They just, you know what I'm saying? But now, in this westernized society that we live in, they try to kill your character now. They try to kill your reputation. They try to kill your witness. They try to, you know what I'm saying, kill everything else except, you know what I'm saying, you physically. You know, now, because that's so blatant, now they just try to kill everything else, tangible or intangible, associated with you now.
I mean, and, you know, the crazy thing is, like, we don't want to offend anybody. I don't, and again, I'm a believer, and so whether or not I agree with what people do is irrelevant.
Right.
And we were having this conversation off camera. You can be prejudiced. You ain't gotta like me. You ain't gotta like black people. I don't care. You want to be gay, be gay. You want to be transgender, be transgender. You know what I'm saying? Like, think in your mind however you want to think. And I use an example. A lot of times, and I'll say me, I won't say you because you're a married man, but like, at work at the post office, at my particular station, there's a lot of bad women walking through there.
Right.
Now, I'm never going to share sometimes what I think.
Right.
But I think it. I'm not going to say it.
Right.
But it is my right to think whatever I'm thinking in this brain, as long as I don't react, as long as I don't go up and say something inappropriate, as long as I don't go and put my hands on any one of those young women, as long as I'm not boisterous in my expression of what I think. It's okay for me to think whatever I want to think. That's just up here. The problem is when I act on it. But I can think whatever I want to think.
Right.
But for somebody to tell me, to come and say, hey, what's going on in your brain? You can't think like that.
Right.
You evil, sick bastard. You should be canceled.
Right.
And I'm a man. I'm a hot-blooded American male.
Yeah.
It's certain things that I'm attracted to, that when I see them, I notice them, and I'm looking, just like when women say, you got a beard, you got a beard, I got a beard, and you rocking some gray sweatpants. Women think a certain thing. I see women on Facebook, oh, it's sweatpants season. It's okay for you to think that.
Right.
Now, you're a married man. As long as, and your wife don't have a problem with nobody thinking it, as long as they don't disrespect you or disrespect her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Like I'm, like even being married, like it is what it is. You have your thoughts and just like, but like you said, it's about your reaction. It's about what you do. Like if you think about doing something, okay, but do you actually do it? You know what I'm saying? That's more so the key. But yeah,
and I will even say, even from the speaking part of it, I could tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll even go back now again. I'm not necessarily a fan of our current president. I don't hate him. Not his best friend either. Long as his interests don't conflict with mine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the conversation where he had with the guy who was talking about grabbing him by.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, is it a problem because he said it, or is it a problem because we heard it?
Mm-hmm.
Because how many times have women told their friends that such and such can get it?
Right.
Oh, I would do this to oh girl, you just don't know. I would do this to him. That's the same. That's come from the same place.
But they're looking at it as in, okay, and at the time he wasn't even thinking about the presidency.
But he wasn't in addressing the American people.
Right.
He was talking to somebody. Somebody recorded it and released it.
Right. They're thinking like, well, a president, even a person that's trying to become president, shouldn't talk, because we're so used to how somebody should talk. Just like we're be in a church. Just like for me, I have my own stigmas, because if you don't sound a certain way, like I'm used to a preacher sounding like this guy over here, because that's all I know. So if I hear somebody else talk like me or you or something, it's like that's not a preacher, because a preacher doesn't necessarily sound like that. And I think that was pointing at Trump at that time to be like, okay, yeah, we do that, but he's not supposed to talk like that because of who he's trying to be.
I mean, I don't look at any president like they are the moral compass of my life. Because I promise, if we go back all the way from the beginning of the presidency to now, ain't none of them is somebody who I would say that this is the most moral person that you should follow their example. Because I guarantee if you go, you don't even have to use a fine tooth comb. Mm-hmm. Even what's they want, they always, Lincoln. Okay, well, let's look at Lincoln, the one who said that he necessarily didn't want to end slavery. He didn't care about ending slavery. His only concern was preserving the Union. That's documented. That's citation. That's not my thoughts. That's not my opinions. He actually said that.
Yeah.
So the very one that they say, he was such a great man because he did this, said, I really don't care about it. It's not that important. I just want the Union to stay together. That was his main focus.
Mm.
Kennedy, he's the last person who actually did something specifically for the black community. But we all know Kennedy was a hoe. He had a reputation with the ladies. It wasn't even hidden. Like, him and his brother was knocking off Maryland.
Yeah.
But it was known. It wasn't even a secret. Right. It was a thing. Like, his dad was affiliated with the mob, with Lucky Luciano and Al Capone and all them. His dad had bloody hands, which is how he got into the office in the first place. Mm. So all of these people that we say, this person is more. No, none of them are. Mm. So I don't look at any president as a moral compass. Now, if somebody is presented, like you spoke about, a preacher, if you're a minister or a clergy or somebody who presents themselves as a moral compass, then yes, I look at you differently. Mm. But a politician, I don't look at any politician as the moral compass of anything.
Just as you was saying, like as a Cowboy fan, like how we think is not how the world at large look at things. Like when they look at a president, it's like even in 2016 when Trump was about to take office, you know what I'm saying? For me at the time, I thought it was good just because you're going to have an outsider in the office that could potentially, this is just me thinking then, that potentially can shake things up, because we always talking about the establishment, the tradition, this family, the Clintons. You go from Clinton, you got the Reagans, you got the Bushes. You know what I'm saying? You go through all those families, but now we have somebody that's a clear outsider that's trying to infiltrate this American system, which I think at the time we definitely needed, especially morally. You know what I mean? Like, even in dealing with, like, what I would just point to, like, with church, like, I think just period, like, coming into the age and we're coming into now, I think you're going to have more people that are not, you know what I'm saying, in the lane, or church people do more work than the actual people that's behind the pulpit. You know what I'm saying? Are doing stuff like what we're doing, how we're speaking, and you know what I'm saying, and putting ourselves in position, like, we're going to be in a position to be more of an influence moving forward, because we're not your run around the way people that you would see behind the pulpit. You know what I'm saying? Or how we look, or how we dress, or how we address each other, how we talk. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, but like I said, that's a whole different.
I mean, but that goes back into, and I believe that's where we are now. And it's interesting you said that, because one thing that I think that our generation has with the church as a whole is because we've seen so much duplicity. We've seen so much fakeness. We've seen so many
duplicities. Explain that to me.
Okay, so it's like Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
Two different people.
Yep.
On the one hand, you're over here, you're this crime fighter, you're mysterious, you're swarthy, you're dark, nobody knows about you or anything. On the other hand, you this, billionaire, you got all these ladies around, you're popular, you're well known, you're moving all these circles, but those two people never meet. And most people don't even know that this is the same person.
Uh-huh.
And again, I like, although Batman is my favorite superhero, I align more with Iron Man, because Iron Man was like, you knew who he was behind the armor. Like, yeah, when I put on this armor, I saved the world, but I'm a genius, I'm a billionaire, I'm a playboy, I'm a philanthropist.
Right.
I'm all of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody knows who I am. You know all of it.
Right.
Well, with the church, a lot of times, the God bless you, I'm blessed and highly favored. Praise, bless God, won't he do it? Won't he will? You know all of the good cliches.
Yeah.
But then you don't know the adulterer, or the person struggling with the porn addiction, or the person who cheats on their taxes, or the person who has no love, who just operates in anger and malice, and or go home and beat their wife or beat their kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The woman with a sex addiction is married, but she's sleeping with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? The woman that says all this good, always testifying in church, but you sleeping with 3 or 4 dudes to make sure your bills paid, to keep your hair done and your nails done.
Yeah.
This dude over here making sure your kids can play for this team or whatever, because you letting him knock it down so little Johnny can go play for the AAU team.
Right.
Like, so the two sides, the duality that we grew up seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can say is that I had great examples, but what really irritated me growing up was not so much my parents as much as it was people that I saw them help. But I saw those same people misuse my parents, talk about my parents, play my parents to the left. Like, when people that my parents helped come up, people that couldn't afford a house, my mama, when she was working at the banks, helped them get a loan, helped them find money so they could get their credit straight and get a house. And when they had their housewarming, didn't even give my mom an invite.
Mm-hmm.
You look down on the person who helped you. Oh, well, y'all stay in this part of town. I can't invite y'all stay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People that will call and ask my dad, can you come talk to my son because he tripping? Can you come talk to my kids because they acting up in school? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you come pray for me, Elder Ragland? And then when they get an increase and they just giving, blessing people, same dudes you asked to pray for you or to talk to your kids, like, You know what I'm saying? Like people who didn't have cars, like my folks taking them to work every day. And I'm meeting these folks because we getting picked up from school, they taking this person to work or picking this person up from work. But then when we get into a situation like, I don't know what to tell you, Rag. So like, I'm like, is this what it's about? I don't want, but then I see you in church and you're testifying, talking about how God got favor on you, he blessing you. I'm like, man, I don't want nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
But so now if I saw it, and I had good examples at home, but I saw it in a lot of other people, what about our friends and people that we grew up with that was their mom and daddy? Mm-hmm. Or their situation was similar to mine. I know you saw it, like with your pops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you know, seeing that duplicitous nature where you're talking out of both sides of your neck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's real. It's, yeah. Okay, I could see some of that. And to your point, like the example that you gave, like people, do you think like people cancel themselves out, like in that setting? I guess I don't know if I'm saying it right. Like an example that you gave with your folks and stuff like that, like people, they cancel themselves out in that particular form when they actually, you know, are putting up a front over here, but then doing something else, you know, behind closed doors or whatever else like that, like putting themselves in that position to cancel themselves out to those people, I guess more so church people, I guess, or the church.
I wouldn't say that you're canceling yourself out, but it's a passage of scripture where Paul says, I don't want to preach to others, but I myself become disqualified. Mm-hmm. Or in other words, like I'm telling you something over here and you end up getting your life together and getting straight, but then I'm disqualified because of all the stuff I'm doing over here. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's happening to a lot of people. It's like, so they're helping people, but at the end of the day, they're not going to get any reward because everything else you're doing on the other end is disqualifying you.
Yeah.
You know, as far as the canceling goes, my thing is that I think that whatever you decide to be, whatever you decide to do is between you and the Lord. As long as you don't physically do it to me, things that you think or say, like me and you, we have a lot of conversations off camera. I don't think that you should be indicted for that you should get fired from your job because of a conversation that me and you have. Even if I record it without your knowledge and post it, that's a private conversation that we was having.
Right.
So now, if somebody says, you know what, well, personally, on a personal friend level, I don't want to deal with JB, that's cool. But, like, what does your job have to do with a conversation that me and you had?
Yeah. And it's crazy because, you know, even, you know, dealing with the cancel culture and the freedom of speech, like, honestly, the company I work for, like, people have got fired for stuff that they put on Facebook or that they have, you know what I'm saying, put out certain information that they should now. Certain stuff is real because you got certain stuff classified, unclassified information, you know, and stuff like that. But just like I'm not sure if you're familiar with this guy, Minister Marcus Rogers. He's he like big on social media, YouTube, Instagram, and all that stuff. Like he has been banned from like Facebook on several occasions just because of the content that he's putting out. Like Facebook is doing that themselves, you know, because the stuff he's talking flagrantly about, you know. I mean, I know some people personally that, you know, Facebook has banned them from certain stuff that they say, you know what I'm saying, or have said. I think we've had conversations before. We're talking like, you know, or, you know, if you talk about this, you got to be careful because these could be the repercussions, yeah. Or
somebody flags you,
right?
Because you say something that people don't like.
And that's, you know, and for me, like, you know, we both are the same as far as like we're honest people, you know what I'm saying, and we don't want to put up a front for nobody. Or if I feel led to say something, I'm just gonna say it. You know what I'm saying? And that has gotten me in trouble a lot in my marriage, you know, and I'm learning, you know what I'm saying? And I'm learning, you know, there's there's certain ways to do certain things, how to say it, when to say it, and all that stuff. But but sometimes it's no other way than to say a few things. You know what I'm saying? You just have to, just kind of come out and say it. And now we're so politically correct now, like we have to me, like when you overthink, that's when you're not really being authentic. Like if I got to overthink everything, I'm saying, okay, like you said, you can be gay, okay, do what you do, that's fine. I don't believe, I don't agree with it, you know what I'm saying? I can say that, but I'm not going to condemn you just because you're gay, but do I believe that that's wrong, or that's, you know what I'm saying, not something that I believe in? Yes. You know what I'm saying? I would tell anybody that, but I'm not going to say I can't sit down with you and eat because you're this or that.
Right. No, I mean, that's what I'm saying, though. I'm not saying, when I say that, I'm not saying I agree or disagree. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is it's not my place to tell you how to live your life. Now, if you want to come and sit down and ask me my opinion on that, I will tell you. Mm-hmm. We can chop it up and talk about it. But I don't believe that I should be indicted or canceled or put on trial because I'm just expressing my opinion or my belief or my faith. It is what it is. Like you said, I'm not going to mistreat you because you choose to do whatever.
Right.
At the end of the day, we're human. We're people.
It's called hate speech now.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And again, so if I don't, when you say you hate something, that means you detest it, you despise it. Despise anybody. Like again, I could disagree with you. I don't mean I despise you, but what they saying is if you disagree with somebody, and that's the craziest thing. That again, that's another duplicitous thing. On one hand, you can say we can agree to disagree. On another hand, though, if I disagree, you saying I hate you. I'm a hater. It's hate speech. I'm condemning you. I'm judging you.
The mark keeps moving.
Right.
It depends on the agenda. It depends on, you know what I'm saying, what's going on at the time. What's the trend? Is it the Me Too or whatever else? Like if you say a certain thing, we can just be talking just as frank as we're doing. We're being, I believe, objective about it. But then somebody would be like, but no, you said you hate gay people. You hate, me because you just said you don't agree. You know what I'm saying? You don't think, you don't agree with my, lifestyle or whatever. So it's like that mark moves. And so when you get into trying to please every, different type of person, you know what I'm saying, that's when you lose yourself. And for me,
lose your authenticity.
Yeah, you just lose it. Like for me, like, well, I'm gonna ask you a question because I thought about this too. Like, do you think a Christian can be as authentic as he needs to be as far as on the word and be massively popular or, in the world's terms?
No.
Okay. Now, I believe the same thing. Like,
emphatically no. Because
like I think you can have.
No, people
like you.
People will listen to you, and it may be people who even respect you. But the last thing you said would be popular according to everybody's standards. The fact that you would be anti a lot of certain things would make you unpopular. Mm-hmm. Because you're countercultural. Mm-hmm. And so anytime you're countercultural, you're unpopular.
Because I heard a known Christian artist was talking about how he didn't want to be controversial. He didn't want to be controversial because he wanted to be more so a voice for the culture, for our culture. So for me, when I listen to that, I'm like, well, you holding the name of Jesus and being a Christian, you kind of, in not being controversial.
No, so basically what you're saying is I want to be accepted by these people that don't believe the same way that I do. Yeah. So I'm not going to offend them.
Right.
So
for the sake of being a voice, voice for the culture, it's like, I'm not a, I just, and I get kind of rubbed the wrong way, and the person I'm talking about too. Clearly, you know what I mean. And so I just think it gets to a point to where you have to call a spade, and if some backdraft comes, like, and for me, for not being famous, like, I don't know what that's like. I don't know. I can only assume once you get into the doors and actually have associates like Jay-Z or, you know, the people of T.I. and those people, and they quote unquote accept you
and co-sign
you, and so knowing if you say something that speaks on the hard truths of the word, that they are going to not be like, oh, you're the worst person, but just kind of
I'm gonna stay away from you.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not gonna kind of fool with you. You know, I'm not gonna kind of keep you in this, you know, associate group that we have. You know, so that can be a an interesting place or even a dangerous place to be in. And like for me, I can't speak to it because I haven't reached a status of to that level, so I don't know what that feels like. But I can just only imagine that it feels good to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? It feels good to be accepted. So, you know what I'm saying, to not want to mess up that good thing, I can see it being, you know, I guess understandable, but just it's not being true to yourself, though.
Well, I mean, that's where society is calling for us to be, though. It's calling for us to be fake.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not fake, if you're not disingenuous, then we will end you. We're gonna put an end to you if you're not subscribing to what we desire for you to be.
Right.
And tolerance doesn't mean that I agree with you on everything. Tolerance means that I will not impose what I believe on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like tolerance doesn't mean I agree. It don't even mean that I won't say nothing. Tolerance just means that I'm not going to try to force you to submit to where I am or to do what I feel you should be doing. And so we say tolerance, but we don't really want tolerance. And when I say we, I mean society. They don't really want tolerance. They want submission. They want you to align with what they think and line up, and not only align, but you think and teach your kids to think exactly what we're saying to think. Mm-hmm. Because if not, then we will end you.
Because even the freedom of speech now is like
a lie.
It's a freedom of speech as long as you're pushing what we want you to push. As long as you say what, you know what I'm saying, what we want you to say. Like, it's not, you know, it's even, man, we be on YouTube, but even YouTube came out, we get emails for the creators and stuff, and they have videos, you know, I don't know if you've seen videos in there, people talking about the election, the prophecies, that, you know, Biden is not the president-elect and stuff like that. They basically said that they're going to start banning those videos, you know, just, you know what I'm saying, because it's part of their integrity, you know what I'm saying,
but if you don't like the video, don't watch it.
I know.
If you don't want to hear what I'm saying, don't listen.
And for me, like, when I see stuff like that, when people are willing to delete or ban your stuff, that's a cause to pause to me. That's an alert to be like, why erase something if it's not true? If something's not real, like if you keep saying, you know what I'm saying, the sky's green, you can keep saying you don't want to go look like a fool. So why not in turn let these people quote unquote look like fools? And so whenever quote unquote don't happen, be like, aha, you know, I got you. But instead you want to delete or X somebody out, you know what I'm saying, just to try to pull your agenda. So it's honestly, man, I just think this is the time for us. Like, shoot, all them years and stuff we was, you know, under the church we was under with Breath of Life and everything, like all that stuff is about to be, you know, work time. You know, we about to actually see what we've been learning all these years to kind of put into work, because, you know, it's not going to get easier. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no freedom of speech. You know, the cancel culture. People can, you know, 'cause people can try to cancel you, but like I said, honestly, to me, it kind of works almost in not reverse, but the more they want to cancel you, the more people want to check you out. It's like if people want to cancel us or something like that to a degree, they gonna still want to watch us because they just so infuriated to what they gonna say next or what's going on. So people don't really cancel you to like wipe you off the face of the earth. They kind of, to a certain degree, they like
and really what they want you to do is just stop creating, you know, what you're saying, or stop saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
And so if you continue to do, you know, what you're doing, you know, they can't cancel you.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I even look at like comedians, like, to me, comedy is like one of the last purest forms where it's comedy and music, but now music, they're basically cleaning it up to where you can't say anything. But comedians used to be able to say anything. Nobody was off limits. And like now, you know, like I can only imagine for comedians getting up there, and to me, the only ones I think that are still, Chappelle doesn't care, and Bill Burr doesn't care.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, like everybody else,
Cat
you got the people
Williams,
that, yeah, Cat doesn't.
There's maybe a couple others, but yeah, I'm with you.
I forgot about Cat, but Cat doesn't. But like they don't care. They're equal opportunity offenders.
Yeah.
And I watched the In Living Color had it was an anniversary like reunion type thing, and it was Keenan Ivory Wayans, Tommy Davis, and David Allen Greer, Sean, and Kim. And they were just all talking about A Living Color. And one thing Keenan said that made the show good was, he said, we were equal opportunity offenders. Said nobody was off limits.
Yeah.
It's like we got everybody. Nobody was above anybody, so we could get on black people, handicapped people, gay people, trans people, white people, Asian people, whatever type of jobs you work. Like we would offend anybody.
Right.
So it wasn't like we're just picking on one group of people. We're picking on everybody.
Yeah.
But I think about that and I'm like, that show would not be able to make it today.
Yeah.
You know, like shows like The Jeffersons. Like go back and watch it. Like this was on prime time. Like he used to say nigger on The Jeffersons.
Yeah.
Like on prime time on like whatever, ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever channel that came on, he would say, oh, that nigga ain't no, on regular TV.
Right.
That show would not make it today.
Yeah.
All in the Family, which spun off Maude, which spun off Good Times, which spun off The Jeffersons. All of those shows came from All in the Family. That show would not be able to make it today. And Archie Bunker was one of the realest people on TV.
Yeah.
You didn't have to agree with him, but he was authentic. He was honest.
Right.
So even though I don't agree with everything he said, I mess with him because at least I know what you are. You're honest. You're authentic. You're righteous. You're speaking your truth. Yeah. He didn't try to step outside of his four walls of his house and impose that on nobody else.
Yeah.
But when you walked inside his house, he would share his opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you know, that's the crucial. Like even you look at lyrics now, or I mean, the dude we grew up with here in the city, you listen to an old Project Pat album, the Gorilla Pimpin' and all this stuff, the stuff he was saying in that now, with the Me Too movie, like it could not exist in this moment in time. Just,
right.
You know, just.
But now when it come on, everybody still sing all the lyrics.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
the same Me Too women will be talking about.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. But yeah, man, it's been a good convo. Got into it just a little bit, but you know that's what's needed. You know what I mean? And also, a lot of people, or a few people, have reached out. You know, trying to have guests and stuff. Eventually, we are going to have some guests. Figure out how we can do that. I don't know if I want to, you know, bring y'all up in here. You know, kind of be squished with three. We do have to do some. Maybe maneuvering, some maneuvering, or maybe some virtual stuff, and then maybe I can put another screen or something online. But we'll see how that kind of goes. But man, until next time, y'all, keep it presidential.
Make sure you had that executive mindset.
Yes, sir.
Arrivederci.
Peace.